This is Creed Orchard here, and I wanted to make a video about seafoaming a car or a truck SUV. This is my 2003 Chevy Tahoe I got about a month ago, and so it's always a good idea to run this stuff through. It's a really good cleaner. I found for it to do a good job with cleaning everything starting from the intake out through the exhaust. So I know these improve efficiency. There's a lot of good reasons to use them. They also improve performance. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the Tahoe on, and this is step one. You want to make sure the engine's warmed up, or at least in the operating temperature, which you can see it's in there. So we're going to take this can of Seafoam. I've just opened it up. What we're going to do is pull off this brake booster line. Now the engine's going to want to die as soon as you do that, so I'm going to set it right here for the video. I'm going to start adding some Seafoam in. Now this is my favorite way to do it, because if you run it through the brake booster line, that enables it to enter into the intake. Starting off with the intake, goes down all the way into the valves, and then into the cylinders, into the combustion chamber, out the exhaust valves, and into the exhaust. And that's the best way to do it, I found, because it cleans everything. You can run this through your gas tank, you can run it through, you actually put it in your crankcase with oil. But I prefer to do it this way because it's more of an instant clean. It makes sure everything gets done right, and you know that it's cleaned your engine the best way possible. Now as a note, when you pull this vacuum line, the engine's going to want to stall, because the intake operates on vacuum. As the engine's sucking the air and fuel down into the cylinders, it creates vacuum in the intake, and if you offset that vacuum, it can stall the engine because there's a little bit too much air. This Seafoam is actually fuel-based, and so it acts almost like a fuel, and it will keep the engine running. You see it's making a little bit of a mess there on the top of the intake cover, but that's alright. Now Seafoam, you generally use about half a bottle of it. I'm going to use a little more than half on this, just to be sure that it's clean. I have 195,000 miles on this engine, and I'll probably use the rest for the Mustang later on today. Alright, so I've inputted most of this bottle in, about 3/4 of the bottle. I'm going to pull this away, and it should kill the engine. So as soon as I set this back onto the brake booster inlet, that should kill it. There we go. So you can see there's already smoke starting to form around here, which is a very good thing. Now I always like to shut it off for about 5 minutes and let it soak. It soaks into all the internals, the combustion chamber, into all the valves, the intake. It just soaks into everything and all the crud that you're trying to clean out. And as soon as that's all soaked in for about 5 minutes, then we'll start it up and run it. My new C71 wheels going on today. Yeah, buddy. One other thing I wanted to mention is in order to get this brake booster line off, there's a hose clamp here that you can just take off with pliers. And I had removed that, just slid it on up the hose, and I'm going to replace it where it was. And that just kind of makes sure that the hose stays on there and is gripping good so it doesn't fly off when you're driving. Alright, so I've let this soak for about 5 minutes now. I'm going to go ahead and start it up. Now this is where you're really going to see the smoke start to fly. I think it's the most fun part of seafoaming. So we'll come back over here, the exhaust. And yes, you can see that. I'm actually going to back this out of the garage so I don't smoke the sky out. So this is actually a sign that the engine was pretty dirty. I mean, I just bought this about 1,000 miles ago, and when you can see it rushing out like that at idle, that means it's burning a lot of junk through the engine. I've had some cars, I've never done the Sky, but I've done other low-mile cars where they hardly burn anything at all. As a matter of fact, the Trans Am that I have was like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to give it some good revs, get the engine warm, real warm, and burn all that stuff out of it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and take this down the driveway. When you have load on the engine, it's a lot better for burning everything out. Head down to the bottom where we can get some good road and run it through the gears. The Seafoam's really good stuff in the respect that it cleans everything out. It doesn't just increase performance like a lot of people are seeking after. It actually increases efficiency, because obviously as the engine, for everything from the intake to the valves to the spark plugs to the exhaust valves, I mean, when you clean all that out, the engine runs a whole lot better. It can breathe better, it's more efficient, there's nothing gumming it up. So always a good idea to use Seafoam every so often. Some people use injector cleaner, some people use certain fuels that clean out the engine. But if you just use Seafoam every 2 months, I've found through my experience that it tends to be a real good way to just keep things clean, keep things running right. There's my Trans Am right now. Here's the road. Okay, so by now, as we've been driving, you see the engine's all the way up to operating temp, and the Seafoam's been in there long enough where it should all just burn out right now if it hasn't already. We're gonna take a look here. I'll see if I can zoom it up, and there it goes. Alright, she's running good. That Seafoam definitely does a lot of good stuff. Definitely recommended to anyone who wants to try it. Now I know certain vehicles don't respond well to Seafoam, so check that and do some research online before you Seafoam your car. And of course, Seafoaming is always at your own risk. There's always a chance it can mess things up. I've found for it to be pretty safe. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Be watching for some other videos. I'm going to do some other minor maintenance videos on my channel coming up, so stay tuned.